Hey guys, this is Brian from VGHO here with Ashley Jenkins from The Know.
Hi.
What's up?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
All right, let's just gonna go straight into it.
All right.
So it was highly regarded among the fans that y'all's coverage of E3 was just a huge success. Is there any possible future plans for you guys doing any coverage for any future gaming events like Gamescom or maybe in PAX? I know you guys were absent from PAX South this year, so
Yeah, we'd love to. It comes down to, at the moment, we're a small team, and so putting on one of those events, it can become a full-time job. So that's pretty much all I did for a couple of months leading up to E3. Someday we'd like to work up to covering a lot of the other events as well, and going and having that kind of presence. But we'll definitely need a little bit more help. And of course, sponsorships are really what make it possible. It's not, we can't just roll up with a crew and build a whole set and put all that into it without some kind of sponsorship. So that's the other side of that coin, is we got to make sure we can cover our productions.
I know at the No panel it was brought up that there's a possibility that you guys have some interest of going into maybe more general news instead of just staying in the entertainment news. Could you maybe please elaborate on that?
Yeah, one of the things that we started when we started doing the No, when we moved it over from RT News, is we expanded from doing just video game news into covering movies and comic book stuff and TV and like tech and crazy science stuff. Really, what it came down to was we want to report on the stuff that we're excited about, the kind of stuff that you want to talk about excitedly with your friends, because that's where the passion for that news comes from. And so we wanted to give ourselves the freedom to share the stories that we found to be the most interesting and like the coolest. So we definitely like to build that up and do more types of news as long as it excites us.
So with really popular online news organizations like, for example, SourceFed and the Daily Dot, their videos have been progressively getting shorter and shorter and shorter so they can post it to like other social media outlets, maybe even like Facebook. But I've noticed with the No that y'all's videos have been getting longer, progressively getting longer and longer. Can you please explain that format, the reasoning behind
We
that?
like to set the trends. Honestly, what it comes down to is when we started the No, we were that short format. It was a minute to 2 minutes. It was just a really quick, here's the facts. And then we would have to find somewhere else to discuss any of that. And what we were missing when we were doing that is we'd get the facts across, but we weren't able to really add any sort of context. So what we started doing slowly was we'd say, it's not the first time this has happened, and we'd be able to add a little bit more. You get a little bit longer update when that happens. Or we'd say, on a related note, here's what's happening over here. Here's a similar situation. Adds a little bit more time in. So what we've got now is where we started with 1 to 2 minutes. We're now taking 7 or 8 minutes, but we're giving the whole thing context, saying here's what happened and here is where it fits into the greater world. And so far, the response to that has been very, very positive. We've had views go up, engagement has gone up, the channel has really grown and blossomed by doing more, not less. And totally understand the need to do really quick bite-sized stuff for social media. So what we have started doing is, because we do a little roundup twice a week of the smaller news that we wouldn't devote a 7 or 8 minute video to. So we take pieces of that, like individual stories out of that, and that's now what we put on social media. But we don't want to try to condense our 7 or 8 minutes of information down into 1 minute, because it's just not the same.
It's just saying go, the more is better. And going based off the whole, I guess, blossoming part of the No, it really has grown a lot within the last year. I know you guys recently got your own office. Can you please explain what you guys have for the future plans of expansion for the No?
Yeah, so for the first part of the No's lifespan, we literally worked in an alley off of the broadcast studio, and we would scramble in to record our news whenever the broadcast studio wasn't in use. So we'd be working around podcasts, or we'd be working around moving sets, or live action would be in, and we'd have to say, can everyone just be quiet for 10 minutes? We have to shoot this thing really quick. And so recently, we moved into our own office space within our studio. So now we can shoot based on our schedule, we get a script done, we can shoot it, we can edit it. It all takes place in the one room. We're all together. So the writer can see what we're saying and how we're translating his words as we speak them and as we add our own flair to it, because I'm sure we drive him nuts just going off with our own commentary. And then the editor can see and know exactly what's going to need to be cut together when we go off the rails a little bit too much and then have to pull it back. And so it becomes it's a much more collaborative process now, where we're all there together seeing the whole thing as it's created. And also the schedule's great too. So now that we have that space, we'll be able to look as well at different types of content that we can do within it. Before, where we had one space and one thing we could do with it, we were a lot more restricted. So now we're getting ready to play.
Awesome. And I guess my final question is, do you have any advice to the guys who watch us? We're mainly a student-based on television or at UT, and a lot of people really want to get into this type of industry. Do you have any maybe advice for those type of people?
My advice for people that want to get into doing this kind of thing is to just start doing it. When I started doing the news for Rooster Teeth, I had a lot of industry experience, but I'd never edited video. I had never written out news scripts. I'd never hosted all of that stuff. So it was end-to-end a learning process, but that's how you learn, and that's how you get better, and that's how you build something. Is you don't wait until you're ready. You say, this is what I'm going to do. Here's what I need to learn to do it. So let's go. And that way you're learning and you're doing all of it at the same time as you're building a body of work. So don't wait. If we wait until we're ready, we never do anything. So that's probably the biggest thing. And just like experiment, play, and be willing to change based on what you find to be successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us. This has been Brian from VGHL. Thanks for watching.